Welcome, future Spartans. I am Dr. Brett Carter, and I'm the Associate Vice Chancellor and Dean of Students here at UNCG. My job gives me the opportunity to work with our student body every single day, and I can tell you, I am consistently inspired by them. Spartans are driven, Spartans are leaders, and Spartans generally care about each other. Now, before I hand you off to tonight's panel, I want to touch base on an important point that I just talked about, and that is creating a culture of care. You see, here at UNCG, our faculty and staff are committed to making sure you have the right tools and resources to help you be successful and able to achieve your academic goals. Beyond all this, the great thing about being a part of such a close-knit campus community is that it means you get the opportunity to move past superficial and drive right to building relationships and having fun. So there's a lot going on here at UNC Greensboro, and I am so glad that you're here today with us. Thank you.
Good evening, future Spartans, and welcome to our fall virtual open house. We are so excited to have you with us today. My name is Tatiana McEnany, and I'm one of the assistant directors for the Office of Undergraduate Admissions here at UNCG, and I'm very excited to be your host for today. I just want to let the audience know that if you have any questions at all throughout this entire live stream presentation about the Honors College, feel free to just text us. So if you have any questions throughout the entire presentation, all you have to do is send us a simple text, and we will be able to answer those questions throughout the presentation and also afterwards. Today I'm joined by a panel of experts representing the Lloyd International Honors College, and I'm going to go ahead and have each of the I'm going to go ahead and have each of them introduce themselves, and I'm going to go ahead and start off with Dr. Muich.
Thank you, Tatiana. Hi there, I'm Dr. Rebecca Muich. I'm one of the assistant deans in Lloyd International Honors College. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Dr. Bolte.
Everyone, I'm Dr. Angela Bolte, and I'm also assistant dean in Lloyd International Honors College. I'm going to toss it to my colleague, Julie Boyer.
Hi everyone, good evening. Thank you for joining us. I am Julie Boyer. I'm the coordinator of admissions and one of the 4 academic advisors for the Lloyd International Honors College. I'm glad to be with us tonight. And now I'm going to ask one of our students to introduce himself. So Max.
Yes, thank you, Julie. Hi everyone, my name is Max Sherman, he, him, his. I am a senior music education major with a minor in Spanish. And I was a full honors student, but I will probably be graduating with international honors because of pandemic complications. It is a pleasure to be here. And last but not least, we have Isna.
Hey everyone, my name's Isna. I'm a graduate of UNCG. I graduated in 2018 with international honors. I'm currently living in Atlanta as a second-year PA student at Emory. Looking forward to answering questions.
We're going to go ahead and get with the presentation, and I'm going to pass it along to Julie.
Thanks, Tatiana. So hopefully you all can see on your screen, we have a short presentation for you where we'll all be participating and letting you know what we have to offer in the Honors College. Do text in those questions. We'll be able to take those at the end. The presentation should only just take us about 10 or 15 minutes. And so let me get started. So again, we are the Lloyd International Honors College, which is made up of 2 different programs. The first one is International Honors, and you heard Max and Isna both mention that they graduated with International Honors. This is geared toward our incoming students who still need general education. So things like history and other humanities, natural sciences, those sorts of things. So you are going to take those classes no matter what major you're in. So all majors are welcome to join the International Honors College. So with that, you do general education and some other things that I'll talk about on the next slide. Our second program is for disciplinary honors, and that's for students who are ready to deepen their study within their major. So for that one, you need at least 40 college credits, and with that, you do a senior honors project. If you do them both, we call that full university honors. Okay, so international honors is 13 credits of honors coursework. So what that looks like is in your first semester, you take a 1-credit honors colloquium, which is a freshman seminar, if you will. It gives you an introduction to UNCG, of course, the Honors College, the greater Greensboro community. Typically, we do a service learning project together and a common read. So that happens in your first semester, along with a 3-credit class that you can also use towards your general education, like I mentioned earlier. After that, it's just 3 more credits of honors coursework. And so sometimes students feel like with honors that it's all of their classes or every semester, but you'll find that really you can disperse your 4 classes throughout your time at UNCG after your first semester. You also need to show proficiency in a second language. proficiency is not the same as fluency. So if you're concerned about that, it's really the equivalent to 4 college classes. And so a lot of times our students have proficiency in a second language, either from their high school experience or because they are already native speakers of a second language. And so we do have an option where you can test out some of the levels or all 4 of the levels to meet that second language proficiency requirement. The third component of international honors is an international experience or study abroad, if you will. And so we have many interesting and exciting opportunities for our students to study abroad. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a later slide. So study abroad is that final component. And of course, just keeping that GPA up. Students need to have at least a 3.3 at the time of graduation. So that's international honors. Disciplinary honors, again, is for students who are ready to deepen their study within their discipline or their major. So with that, students take the same types of classes that they take for their major. So again, not extra coursework, but enhancing the classes that they already need with a contract or some sort of enhancement to make it honors level. And it all caps off with the senior honors project, which really can look different in all majors. It doesn't necessarily have to be a research project. It could be. We have a great program called Consumer Apparel and Retail Sciences. And with that, sometimes students make actual pieces of clothing. That could be a senior honors project. It could be an art piece or a choreographed piece for our dance majors, all sorts of options for that senior honors project. With that, you need at least 40 college credits and to be at UNCG for at least 1 semester to be able to apply to disciplinary honors. So if you're watching tonight and you have a lot of AP credits or dual enrollment, or you're doing early or middle college, this could be the right program for you, but you do need to be at UNCG for at least 1 semester and have a UNCG GPA before you'll be able to apply to that program. So that's our 2 programs. We do get a lot of questions about why should I do honors? And I really think that that is best answered by our students. So Max, if I could ask you to maybe share some of the reasons that you chose to do honors.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to. Thanks, Julie. So starting with what we have on our slide here, we have really great housing specifically for honor students. And if I recall, we will be going more in depth with that later in the presentation. We also have lots of exclusive programming, like it says. And essentially what that means is outside of the classroom, we are also very active and doing a lot. Additionally, a really nice plus is, especially if you're coming in as a freshman, we get to register a day before people of the same classification as us. So what that means is that if there's a particular class you're looking to get into to make your schedule work, you kind of get a leg up in that, which is really cool. And I believe Isna also has some to say about the content of this slide.
Yeah, of course. Both Max and I will be talking about the study abroad perks of being in the Honors College. That was definitely one of my reasons for joining the Honors College. You have an honors-only scholarship, as well as a study abroad travel grant that I did use. Another reason would be the increased interaction with faculty. You have very small class sizes, and I found that to be extremely helpful in developing the relationships that I still have with faculty.
Thanks, Isna and Max. And something that I'll mention is all students who apply and are accepted to international honors do receive that travel grant. And so when you're thinking about planning for your experience to study abroad, we really hope that we can help you with the study abroad travel grant. So we have many different opportunities, both inside the classroom, of course, but also outside of the classroom to engage with honors. And so I'd like to maybe ask Dr. Angela Bolte to talk a little bit about some of these, especially that she oversees 2 of them.
Thanks, Julie. I'm going to first talk about the Artist in Residence program. This is a program that we created because our honor students really have all kinds of diverse interests, and sometimes just the classes that they have to take through honors or at UNCG really can't capture what it is that they want to do. And so the Artist in Residence program was created to help students be able to engage in some of their artistic endeavors that maybe they can't inside the classroom. It's created so that students work with a faculty or staff mentor over the course of a full academic year. They create an original artistic program. So it could be, a sculpture, it could be a series of paintings, it could be, a choreographed dance piece. One student wrote a video game, designed it. So it really is diverse for students to do. At the end of their experience, they also present. They present at the Thomas Expo, which is for the entire university. And then they also have a artist in residence showcase that's just for us in the Honors College that we invite the university community as a whole to attend to. And it's a really great program. Our students really love it. And it really is, you know, one of the programs that lots of people outside of the Honors College really express the fact that they just love this program. They love to be able to watch the students and listen to the students talk about their work over the course of the year. There's also some funding tied to it, so that's really nice. It allows students to, you know, buy supplies and actually end up with a little bit of funding at the end of the year. Another one of these that I oversee is the Honors Symposium. The Honors Symposium is open to all UNCG students to present at a research-styled conference. Students present on their work, typically work that's done in a class at UNCG. But one of the really great things about this is we actually invite students in honors colleges and programs from around North Carolina to also present. So it's a really great way for you to be able to hear some great stuff that not just our honor students are doing, but honor students all around the state are doing. And we really invite anyone to attend this next year in the spring 2021. It's going to be virtual. And if you would like to attend, send an email to askhonors@uncg.edu, and we would be happy to send you a Zoom link to that when those are available. I'm going to toss it back to Julie.
Thanks, Dr. Bolte. Isna, if I remember correctly, you not only presented at Symposium, but also won an award. Would you talk a little bit about your experience?
Yes, of course. I do remember presenting at the Honor Symposium, and it was a wonderful experience. And I did win 3rd place for a research study that I did at I worked with a professor during my senior year, and we managed to write a paper, and I was able to present it to my fellow peers. And it was an amazing experience. It really helped me to put forward my speaking voice and talk about research.
And then you'll also see on the screen 2 other things that we sort of enjoy every year. The banquet. So honors banquet is, do you remember your time at graduation at the honors banquet? And the honors ambassadors, which Isna and Max both served during their time at UNCG. I don't know if you want to say a little bit about how that's been part of your experience at UNCG and the Honors College, Max or Isna, either one?
Yeah, if you guys look at that photo, there's actually a younger, more awkward version of me on the far right. But yes, I joined the Honors Ambassadors truthfully because I was so grateful for everything I had been offered that I kind of wanted to give back in a sense. And what that looks like is kind of what I'm doing right now for you all. If you're really deep in the program and you're really liking what you're doing and you want to get to talk to other people about it, you'll be attending different outreach events, meeting prospective students, and it's really a good time. And like Isna said, it's a wonderful opportunity to practice public speaking with very low pressure because it's usually just positive interactions all the time, and it's such a pleasure.
It's a great little community, and I have the pleasure of overseeing the ambassadors. And they're an even smaller community within the community of the Honors College. We actually got together a couple of weekends ago and played Jackbox games, which was my first time. Matt's a great host, and it's really nice to be part of that community. So now I'd like to invite Dr. Bolte to talk a little bit about what you can expect in honors classes.
Thank you, Julie. Yeah, one of the things that we often hear from students in high school that are interested in potentially joining the Honors College is, what is the difference between honors classes in high school and honors classes at university? And there really is a significant difference. Lots of times in high school, your honors classes are really sort of overly packed, maybe is how we'll describe it, right? You're really supposed to do as much as you can and really cover a significant amount of things, more than what you would in a regular class. That's not really the focus of university honors courses. University honors courses are really sort of geared to small, more intimate discussions between you and your faculty person, right? So you're taking what are called general education courses in our honors college as an international honors student. Those are courses that everybody has to take, but very typically those would be in a little bit bigger classroom size than what you're going to have in honors. So you might have a class of 40 to 60 students maybe in a general education course. In honors, your courses are capped at 25. So they're smaller. So they're usually more discussion based. They're really more focused in having a conversation between the professor and the students as a whole, which is very different, I think, typically than what our high school honors courses are. Our honors courses at UNCG are very diverse. They're a little bit different than what you might find as a regular course. And we have sort of a list here of a number of our course titles that we've offered and are continuing to offer. And maybe Max and Isna can say a little bit about maybe what their favorite honors course was. Do you want to go ahead, Max, and maybe say a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. I really do want to reiterate what Dr. Bolte said about this idea of discussion-oriented. It was so interesting to, instead of take English 101, take a course titled something along the lines of Making Meaning in a Global World with one of our advisors, Chris Kirkman. He was a wonderful professor, and essentially the class just dug into the idea of language in the context of societal structures and how what environment you're in changes how language functions. It was, as an aspiring teacher, it was very fascinating and gave me a lot to think about what I'm going to be doing in the classroom in the future. And yeah, the other students in those classrooms are just as enthusiastic about it as like the professor and as I was. So it was really such a pleasure, instead of sitting in like a lecture hall kind of just listening. It was very participatory, which I loved.
So the class that I wanted to talk about was also with Chris Kirkman. It was actually the Honors Colloquium, which is I believe it's a 1-credit class that every incoming honors student has to take. And it still stands as my favorite freshman year class because one, Chris was an amazing professor, so easy to talk to. And the other was the notion of the class. It showed me how community-oriented UNCG was and the Honors College. I mean, not just community-oriented in the way that everybody in the Honors College is a family, but also the class taught us how to give back to the community, and that was something very new to me.
Thank you, Isna and Max. And so I mentioned study abroad as a component of the International Honors Program. I think you'll notice some familiar faces here. So Max and Isna on their study abroad. So something I would like to let you know about UNCG, we have a really great partner in the International Program Center, where they really work to send our students abroad to our partner institutions across the world. And so as you can see on the screen, we have over 130 exchange partners in something like 33 countries. So we're on 6 of the 7 continents. So I like to say that we can get you, where you want to go or very, very close. And they are fantastic in finding the right programs for students that will meet your degree requirements. And so studying abroad will not add time onto what you're doing. So they really do want to listen to you. They want to find the right program for you where you'll feel comfortable. I would like to invite Max and Isna to talk about their experience because they did go to 2 different countries, sort of 2 different ways. So we have faculty-led programs. We have others that are not faculty-led. Sometimes students say, I don't want to go with another American or with another UNCG student. I want to really kind of do my own thing. And others feel like they would like to travel kind of as a group. And so we have many, many opportunities. And so Max and Isna, would you like to share a little bit about your experiences abroad?
Definitely, yes. So as mentioned, I am in the center of that picture on the left, younger, awkward me again. I had the wonderful opportunity to study abroad in Cadiz, Spain, but that picture was actually taken in Granada. We took a lot of weekend trips over our time there to visit historical monuments and climb castles and the usual things you do. And yeah, it really was such a pleasure. As a music student, I didn't necessarily have a free semester to take, but I found this wonderful summer program through UNCG that lasted 5 weeks. And it was just as immersive. We each lived with a host family that spoke entirely Spanish. So all of our language abilities automatically skyrocketed, which was really cool to see as all of my peers got better at speaking. And it was so wonderful. We got to do so many things, meet so many people. And the town we were in, Cadiz, was like this little oceanside town. Like it really felt like a second home. And I will admit, I teared up a little bit when I boarded that plane to leave. It was just so wonderful. And I want to reiterate that there is a program for everyone. If you don't have time, if you do have time, fears aside, there is a program for everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Max. So study abroad was probably one of the most memorable times of my college years. I went to Kiel University in it was kind of like the North UK, and I went there for my fall semester of my sophomore year. And being a biology major, you would think that it would be hard to fit study abroad, a whole semester of study abroad, into that very tight schedule of science classes, but UNCG and the Honors College definitely have a program for everybody. You know, they made it work, and I was able to spend a semester there. One of the highlights was, well, it was the stipend that did help pay for my flight to the UK. And the other, this picture that you see of me to the right, was a 10-day trip to London. This was faculty led by 2 faculty members of the Honors College, and students from all over Europe who were studying abroad. So they were UNCG students in Europe, all met in London, and we got to spend a 10-day fully paid trip there, exploring historical London, exploring historical English authors, and it was an honors program, and it was within like the best 10 days that I probably had during that semester. So, and thanks.
Thank you, Isna and Max. So something to know is that when you go in a full semester, you pay your UNCG tuition and fees just like you're in Greensboro, and a student where you want to go pays theirs, and you essentially switch places. And so tuition fees really work out to be the same. Assuming that you're paying something to live on campus, you can suspend that housing fee and those dining hall fees and use that money to go abroad. And so we hope then that our study abroad travel grant that we give you will help pay for airfare, like Isna mentioned. So IPC's motto, International Program Center, their motto is, if you can afford to study at UNCG, you can afford to go abroad. And they really have a lot of resources available to make it affordable. And something I'd like to point out, you may notice that Shay is holding this little tiny dragon. So the dragon is our mascot. And if you want to know why, join us at an Honors Friday session. We have one tomorrow at 1 o'clock. But we'll talk a little bit more about that at an Honors Friday session. But something to know is that the dragon is our mascot. Every student gets a little dragon friend to travel with them at our Bon Voyage party before you go. And so she is holding hers. So on the next slide, we have a There Be Dragons blog. So if you want to get a sense of where our students have gone before and where you might go, feel free to check out our blog. There are lots of pictures. Many of our students travel to countries nearby, and so that you can really get a sense of what you can do while you're abroad, whether it's for 5 weeks or for 5 months, by checking out our blog, There Be Dragons. Another perk of being in the Honors College is honors housing. I'm actually in North Spencer. I'm coming to you live from North Spencer and hoping that we will not have a fire alarm this evening, because not that we have a lot of them, but you know, sometimes we have to practice those drills. So far, so good. But we do have 2 residence halls for our first-year students and above, and then a 3rd hall for our sophomores and above. And I'd like to invite someone who has lived in the halls to talk about it. So Max, would you take over?
Yes, I would love to. I must say that the freshman halls, which are attached, North Spencer and South Spencer, were one of the greatest benefits UNCG has delivered me so far. Primarily because, and the fact that you all are watching this honors presentation, I can guess that you're all very dedicated students. So after spending an entire day immersed in your area of study, it was such a blessing for me to be able to go home and talk to my best friend whom I met there, a poli-sci major, as far outside of my major as possible, and really just have like that separation of school and home, even though you're still on campus. It was really stabilizing for me. I met some wonderful people. And there's lots of programming going on at all times. The RAs are always arranging something creative. And then I liked it so much that my sophomore year, I went into the sophomore dorm, Great Hall, which was more suite styled. It was a nice intermediary step between the freshman dorm and the apartment I am now living in off campus. I had even more privacy than the year before, and my friends all moved alongside with me, so we had a blast. And one more thing about the Spencers is that they are very centrally located on campus, directly next to the CAF, which is a great benefit on a rainy day.
Thanks, Max. So as you mentioned, North and South Spencer are actually connected. We lovingly call it the Spencers community. We are attached to the cafeteria and just a few steps away from the library. If you do plan to live on campus, we do require you to live in North or South Spencer. So that's something to know. Again, you're not required to live on campus, but if you do, we do want you to be part of this community. And I think that you'll find that that's actually a good thing. There's a classroom here. 3 advisors are located in the Spencers. There's also an additional full-time advisor in Gray Hall. So we just like to be available to you and to be another resource to you. And something that students say that they get out of being in honors is, again, meeting people outside of their major. You know that you're going to keep seeing those same faces once you get into your major. This is a good chance to meet people and have those discussions that are different than the ones you might have with just students in your major. So if all of this sounds good to you, I would like to talk to you a little bit about how you can apply to the Honors College. When you apply to UNCG and you submit either your transcript or your test scores, if you choose to, you'll have to meet one of these 3 criteria. So a 3.8 weighted GPA, a 26 or higher on the ACT, or a 1270 or higher on the SAT. So as you probably already know, tests are optional this year, and so you do not need to submit test scores. However, if you do submit them, they are one of the ways that you could be invited to apply. But if you do not have them and you only have the 3.8 weighted high school GPA, that is perfect. If you do submit the test scores, that's great. We will only use them, again, to send you the application. So it will not be part of the evaluation process. Once you are invited to apply to the Honors College, that consists of sending us a resume. So tell us who you are and what you're up to, and an essay. And those prompts are on our website now if you wanted to get a jump on starting your essay. What I would very much recommend is that you check that out and you have things ready to go. So that way, when you do receive your invitation to apply to honors, it's just a matter of uploading those documents and sending them in. I'd like to ask Dr. Rebecca Muich to talk about our scholarships and awards and our Honor Scholars programs.
Thanks so much, Julie. So the Honors College attempts to support our students from the time that they decide that they want to come to UNCG as first-year students to the time that they prepare to graduate. So we really invest in our students at every stage in their education. And we try to create funding and create opportunities around lots of different experiences. So as first-year students, if you're applying to the Honors College, you'd be interested in some of the scholarships that we have available for incoming students. Some of those scholarships fall under the admissions blue and gold umbrella. The Catherine Smith Reynolds Scholarship and the Class of 55 Scholarship, for example, both offer tuition to UNCG for 8 semesters, in addition to additional funding for study abroad, an internship experience, and in the Reynolds Scholars case, also a community service stipend. We have a new scholarship, the Sloan Scholarship, that has a similar offering for incoming students. And then we also have some scholarships that are backed by donors to the Honors College that we can award on a one-time basis for the first year of study at UNCG. As you continue on in the Honors College, we also have scholarships that we can offer to our ongoing and current students. So some of these scholarships, like the Lipton Family Scholarship, we award to a rising junior and a rising senior who continue to show great potential for growth in their studies and in their academics. And some of these scholarships, like the Phelps Endowed Scholarship, are for students in the visual arts. And we're very lucky to have alumni of UNCG who continue to invest in students who show their interests that match up with theirs when they were students. So Jeannie Phelps, for example, was an arts major, and she found the Honors College to be a really receptive place to continuing to support students who were looking for that same experience that she had. So we're very lucky to be able to maintain those really great relationships. We've already talked a lot about our Study Abroad Travel Scholarship, but we want to reiterate that we do consider study abroad to be a foundational and incredibly crucial experience for our students. And we want to ensure that there are as few barriers as possible for students to travel abroad. And so that travel scholarship is the legacy of the woman who founded the Honors College. Her name was Rebecca Lloyd, and she wanted to ensure that our students had a strong international, civically based education. And creating the money in the fund for this scholarship has been one of her greatest legacies. So we're going to keep talking about the scholarship because it's really important to us, and we want to make sure that you feel supported in all kinds of ways when you decide that it's time for you to travel abroad. And then finally, I wanted to make sure that we talked a little bit about our disciplinary honors support. So we've been talking a lot about the International Honors Program, which is of course important because this will be the program that you will be applying for yourselves. But disciplinary honors, as Julie mentioned, is a program that you can apply for after you've been at UNCG for a semester and you have those 40 credit hours. And it's a chance to deepen your experience within your own major. And we also have some scholarships to support that kind of learning as well. So Dr. Bolte already talked about the Artist in Residence program, but we have some other scholarships like the Scurry Family Scholarship, and we have a new one called the Brady Scholarship that are intended for students in their particular majors and are only available to disciplinary honors students. We also really dig deep on undergraduate research. So Isna talked about presenting at the Honor Symposium and what an important experience that was for her. So the Honors College also supports some students each summer who are undergoing an undergraduate research experience with a faculty member. So we, as I was trying to demonstrate that we really believe in finding these extra experiences for you and to find a way to ensure that you can take full advantage of them. One other program that we wanted to highlight here is the Scholars Program, which I'm lucky enough to oversee for the Honors College. So these are the students who are selected to win the Catherine Smith Reynolds Scholarship, the Class of '55 Scholarship, or the Sloan Scholarship. So this is for incoming first-year students. These scholarships, as I mentioned, carry this extra stipend for study abroad and for completing an internship and a community service project. And ideally, we are creating a community of scholars who are really invested in giving back to the UNCG community. And so this smaller community within the Honors College also benefits from one-on-one mentoring with a closer connection to their faculty mentors and their advisors, with some extra developmental workshops, and when the pandemic allows, some off-campus experiences to help them get to know each other and to help them make connections around the community. So that Scholars Program, again, consists of those 3 scholarships that we mentioned. And if you apply to the Honors College by December 1st, you are automatically eligible to be considered for one of those 3 scholarships. So I'm going to hand it back to Julie.
Thanks, Dr. Mioj. I think I heard something about the scholars getting together this weekend for a viewing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So sounds like fun.
We are working on that, yes. Outdoor movie night.
Sounds great. Well, next step, folks, if you're interested, is to head on over and apply to UNCG. You do have to do that before you can get that invitation to apply to the Honors College. So you can apply via Common App, CFNC, or Spartan Link, and I'm sure Tatiana has more information on that. Again, you want to meet that December 1st priority deadline that Dr. Mioj mentioned for automatic scholarship consideration. So no additional application for scholarships, but you do have to have your UNCG application and your Honors College application completed by December 1st. The other benefit of applying by December 1st is you are guaranteed an admission notification decision by January the 31st. So the earlier you apply, the earlier you will find out if you are accepted. If you happen to not make that deadline, the next regular deadline is January 15th. And if you apply by then, you will have your admission decision by March 15th. You may apply after January 15th, but it's on a space available basis. And we just don't know exactly when we'll be able to get to you because we will have already extended offers to other students. So the point here is you are watching in October. You have plenty of time to apply before December 1st and January 15th. So just go ahead and do that. If you like what you've heard tonight, don't wait. FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, opened on October 1st. So you do not have to know where you're going or have been accepted to a college to start that process. again, you're watching early enough that hopefully you've already started that process. And then something that comes a little bit later, but that I like to mention is that this honors housing that we have that students are required to live in, if they're going to live on campus, can fill up. So if you do want to be part of the community, we'd love to have you. You need to apply when that opens. You do not have to wait to find out if you've been accepted to the Honors College to apply for honors housing. If you are not accepted, you just won't be placed here. So go ahead and take advantage of that if you do decide to come to UNCG and apply for honors housing when that application opens in February. So I put on the screen our social media. So UNCG Honors Instagram is our overarching sort of Honors College Instagram, but our honors ambassadors have their own. Typically they do takeovers and they drop tips for studying and for student success otherwise. And then UNCG Honors Scholars, so those programs that Dr. Muich just mentioned, the Sloan Scholars, the Reynolds Scholars, and the Class of 55 have their own Instagram, and you can follow what they're up to that way. We have one Facebook page that you can follow, Lloyd International Honors College at UNCG, and then our Twitter handle is there as well. If you have any questions, of course, email us at askhonors@uncg.edu. There's lots more information on our website, which is listed on the screen for you there. And we are happy to take your questions now. So we hope that you will find your way here to UNCG and the Lloyd International Honors College.
Thank you all so much for your presentation. Definitely informative. I definitely learned some things. I do want to go ahead and get to questions, but I do want to also remind our viewers that if you do have any questions, please text us. We are able to answer those questions now. But let's start with a couple of the questions that we already have. All right, I've got a couple questions. Julie, this one's for you. So if a student is really interested in the Honors College, but they don't meet the GPA requirements, what are their options?
Great question, Tatiana. We actually do have a petition process where students can write basically essentially to the dean why they think that they would be a good candidate for the Honors College. They do need a letter of recommendation with that, but we very much want students to advocate for themselves. So we are looking to make a community of learners here. We're looking for people who are engaged and who want to take advantage of the opportunities that we have. So we absolutely review each application holistically. But if they do not meet the GPA, to have us do that, the petition process is the way to go, and that's on our website. So honorscollege.uncg.edu, under the International Admissions tab, there is a petition sort of explanation of what to do. And you're also welcome to email me directly at j_boyer@uncg.edu, and I can walk you through that process and or share the link.
Awesome, thank you. So it seems like you all definitely give those students the opportunity to join the Honors College if they really want to, so that's awesome. We just had a student text us, if they wanted to apply and defer in order to take a gap year, when would they apply for the Honors College? And that is kind of an open question for either Dr. Bolte, Julie, or Dr. Muich.
We absolutely understand that students might want to take a gap year, and we support that. So you've got two choices. You can go ahead and apply this year, and we can admit you, and then you can defer, or you can wait until the year that you actually want to begin. So I think that we're very open. We want to work with students. We understand that times, especially right now, are very uncertain, and we don't want, nothing is binding. So we really hope that you will wait to commit until you know that you're going to come to UNCG, but also understanding that we can work with you if you decide to take a gap year.
All right, cool. These next couple questions are going to be for Max and Isna. One student is asking if they have to study abroad. Is that a requirement, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I can start with that. So we do have the two honors programs, and the study abroad portion is associated with international honors. I don't like using the words have to because it felt like such a wonderful opportunity, but that is one of the requirements for that. That said, especially during these times with regards to the pandemic, there have been some other opportunities offered to students currently, and I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if any of the three faculty here have a clearer idea of that, but there are exceptions being made related to COVID. And additionally, if it's not a COVID related question and we're just nervous to study abroad, there are a lot of different types of opportunities for all different types of comfort levels. And if you really don't want to do international honors, you can only do disciplinary honors later on in your career.
All right, awesome, Max. I think you answered that lovely, so I appreciate your answer. Isna, this one, I think you can definitely answer this question. Another student is wondering where they can study abroad. So I know you all mentioned Spain and the UK, but what are some other international options maybe that were presented to you, or just some other options for students to kind of get an idea of where they're able to go?
Yeah, so I studied abroad in the UK, and as Max said, he did Spain. Basically, UNCG offers so many options. I think it would be difficult to find a place they don't let you go. So all over the world. And I know occasionally they have faculty-led smaller study abroad trips to different areas of the world. And if that interests you, you can go there. But location-wise,
And Julie, you might be able to help out as well, like specific locations.
Absolutely. So like I mentioned, we have students on 6 of the 7 continents. Very popular spots right now seem to be South Korea. I don't know if it's K-pop, thank you BTS, but we do send a lot of students to South Korea, Japan, other popular locations. Of course, Western Europe, Western Europe is very popular because it's so easy to get on a train and be in another country. Dr. Muich this summer will be leading, co-directing UNCG in Rome. So there are a couple of different sites in Italy. There are unique places. So we have a student who had never been on a plane before, but who was doing a Russian studies major as part of languages, literatures, and cultures, that department. And he decided to go to Estonia for his first time ever being out of the country. And so there are so many unique opportunities. And I don't think when he first thought about study abroad, he said, oh, Estonia. But I think in doing research, if you have an open mind and you really communicate what you want to get out of your experience at the International Program Center, can help you get there. So we really have students in so many places. I think, of course, when people think about studying Spanish, they think about Spain, but there's also great programs in Peru and Costa Rica and Uruguay. So I know I could just go on and list them all. I'm sure you don't want to hear all the options, but there are so many. We have relationships with the Copenhagen School of Business, the London School for Economics and Politics. So many different connections all over the globe that it'd be really hard to name them all, but I'm happy to talk to you more about it if you have somewhere you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Julie. And I know on y'all's website, you're able to see all of those different places that you are able to study abroad. So if you want to look a little bit deeper, you can definitely check out the Honors College website. Max, this question is for you. I know you mentioned you stayed with a host family, I believe. Is that right?
I did.
Awesome. So what do students have to stay with the host family? Are they able to stay on campus or like off-campus apartments? Is that a thing? And does it cost extra? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Great question. That is extremely program specific. So my program, the Summer in Spain program, was through the Spanish department here at UNCG. And the structure of that program was that we actually were not studying through university. We were studying through this program hosted in Cadiz, Spain. So there weren't exactly dorms in town. There were just everyone who offered to share their beautiful homes with us. Mine actually had this really amazing view of the ocean that I woke up to every morning. Yeah, it's wonderful. So yes, that is extremely program specific. And like Julie mentioned earlier, the cost should not and will not be a concern. If you can afford to go to UNCG, you can afford to study abroad, dorm or no dorm. But yes, the presence or absence of host families and dorms is program specific.
All right, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Dr. Bolte, I've got a parent asking if there are any additional costs associated with being a member of the Honors College.
That's a really great question. Some honors programs do have additional costs attached to them. We have a very small $30 a year fee to be part of the Honors College. And what we do is we use that money from that fee to actually go back to the services that we do for your honor students. So that money goes back to help fund some of the scholarships we offer, like the Dean Summer Research Stipend, to fund the events that we have for students. So there is a cost, but it's very small.
Yeah, and it seems like it goes right back to the students. So that's always awesome. The same parent, Dr. Munich, I wonder if you can answer this. The same parent is wondering how you apply or qualify for honors college scholarships.
Yeah, so as first year students, as you're just applying to the Honors College, you know, in kind of the traditional pathway, you are automatically eligible for scholarships simply by virtue of applying to the Honors College by December 1st. So there are no additional application pieces or no additional application elements beyond your supplemental materials that you send in to apply to the Honors College. So this is why we do tell you when you're working on your essays and you're working on your resumes, you know, take the time to think about how you want to present yourself in this application process, because that is also applications for scholarships. As you go on and the scholarships for continuing students, we have separate application processes that we run through the Honors College once you're here, and we advertise that in-house and we manage that in-house once you're here.
Great, thank you for that. There is a follow-up question to that for you. A student is asking if if the incoming freshman scholarships are renewable, or are they a one-time scholarship?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So the scholarships in the Scholars Program, so the Catherine Smith Reynolds, the Class of 55, and the Sloan scholarships are all renewable for 8 consecutive semesters. But the other scholarships that we advertise on our Future Students tab, if we're looking, again, we can go to the website and take a look in the Future Students tab at some of our scholarships there. Those are mostly one-time scholarships.
Okay, great. Julie, I've got a question for you. Can you talk a little bit about how important it is to start the application early, just because, you know, you have to be admitted to UNCG and then there's a separate essay. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of that?
So important. Yes, definitely. You know, everything takes time. I think that we are in sort of an instant, sort of on-demand world. You want to watch a movie, you can queue that right up on Netflix and be watching it within a few minutes. But college applications do not work that way. So you have to remember that you have to do everything on your end, and then anybody you might need additional information from, so your transcripts or your test scores, that takes time to request them and then for us to receive them. So even though you hear December 1st, don't leave it for that. That's the sort of absolute deadline that everything should be done. You want to give yourself plenty of time to have things done. You never know what could happen, heaven forbid. So maybe you get really busy at school and you don't have time to write that essay at the last minute, or we've had unfortunate things happen with technology and laptops go kaflooey, and then there's your essay, it's gone. So there's no reason to wait. If you like what you've heard, go ahead and apply to UNCG so you can get that invitation to apply. Again, it's not instantaneous. So once you send your application, we need that triggering document, and then the system has to go out there and search for people who are eligible, and then you have to be invited. It takes a couple of days in between, and you just don't want to have any issues. So December 1st is that hard deadline. We actually, when we search for scholarship, primarily scholarship eligible students, the way we search is we cut off people who applied after December 1st. So don't wait. There's just no reason. And we've had students be very upset that they missed the deadline, even though they started the process earlier. It has to be complete. We just have to end it somewhere, and it's only fair to do it at our published deadline, December 1st. So yes, please don't wait. I hate taking the calls on December 2nd telling me that they missed it and could they have an extension. We just can't do that.
Awesome. So all viewers, you all heard it right from the Honors College panel. Make sure you get your application for UNCG and for the Honors College in before December 1st. So definitely don't delay. And this next question is for Isna or Max. Can you help some of our prospective students learn a little bit more about the internship opportunities that are available for honors students?
I can start. So I personally, and this may be more of a statement about UNCG in general, but my major of music education involves field experiences practically every semester. So starting spring semester freshman year, I was placed in front of a classroom of 7th graders and told to teach them something. And
wow.
That was a really eye-opening experience for me, because it made me realize my love for my degree. And it made all of my colleagues who realized maybe they would fit better somewhere else, they realized that their freshman year, instead of waiting until junior year, senior year, like a lot of other places, and then being up a creek without a paddle. So in general, UNCG offers a lot of different types of experiences across the board, and a lot of those are major specific. But like mentioned earlier by Dr. Bolte, we have programs within the Honors College, like the Artists in Residence and things like that, that are specifically honors oriented too. The one thing I say to people is usually at UNCG, you will be making your own experience because there are so many options for things to do. Our slogan is find your way here. And that doesn't mean, yes, find your way here, but also you will find your way while you are here. There are many, many options.
I can add to that a little bit. I didn't do an honor-specific internship, but as Max said, you do find your way. I actually made my own internship. For my biology degree, I was required to do one. And I wanted to do something with the community. I couldn't find one associated with UNCG, but I was able to contact a free healthcare clinic and intern for them.
Very cool. Thank you guys for sharing your experiences. I know our prospective students definitely value that information coming from you all. Julie, I've got a question for you. A current high school student is watching, and they have quite a few AP and dual enrollment credits that they'll be bringing in. What happens to those AP credits if they were to join the Honors College, and are they allowed to use those credits towards their general ed courses, or no, because they aren't honors?
That's a really great question. Welcome. So glad that you're tuning in tonight. So we have a lot of students, honor students especially, who have AP, IB, dual enrollment credits. So we have some who come in with full associate's degrees from early college and middle college. And what I would say is that, of course, all those credits, we'll take them here and you're welcome. It just depends on what your major is and what you'll have left. So for example, sometimes students come in with credits in, I'm thinking about biology, but depending on the score you make in AP Bio, even though you're going to be a bio major, if you make a 3, it's not credits for the biology that you need for a biology major. We would offer that Bio 111 and you can just keep building on your knowledge. So really what happens is this: if you apply to honors and you're accepted, we do advising in the summer, we call it SOAR, and we would look at your AP and IB and dual enrollment, all those extra credits that you brought in, and make a path for you where you're not taking of course, the same classes that you did before, but that you're meeting other markers. And so we absolutely welcome those classes. And I can assure you that we have students who, again, come in with those associate's degrees, but they still decide to be part of international honors because the types of courses that we teach are not American history, 1945 to present, or sort of, like AP World, those sorts of things. The classes we teach are very different. I'll pick on Dr. Bolte for a second. She's teaching a class this semester called Aliens, Unicorns, and Vampires, and I'm guessing that you have not taken that in high school.
I would be very surprised if anyone has taken my course, Unicorns, Vampires, and Aliens. That course is a course on the philosophy of speculative fiction. So what we do in that course is we look at why philosophers might be interested in looking at speculative fiction based upon our interest in thought experiments and how speculative fiction might actually present us with better thought experiments than the typical, like experience machine or something like that philosophers or Plato's cave, something like that, sort of those very well-known kind of thought experiments that philosophers done. And so we do that for about a quarter of the course. And then the rest of the course is spent on looking at specific issues. My course specifically focuses on issues of gender, race, and sexuality. And so we look at movies, short stories, graphic novels that deal with those issues. So for example, my class read Kindred, the graphic novel version of Kindred, Octavia Butler, very, very famous African-American author that focused on Afrofuturism. If you haven't read any Octavia Butler, I don't like you very much. You should go read some Octavia Butler. And then other also movies we're going to watch next week. We're watching The Hunger, a classic movie, one of those classic movies that, sort of feature the idea of, lesbians and vampires as we enter the last section of the course on sexuality. So it's a really great, really fun course, and a course that you cannot get anything like it anywhere else in the United States except here at UNCG in the Honors College.
Dr. Bolte, thank you so much for kind of elaborating on that course. It definitely is, like you said, only a course that you can take here at UNCG, and only if you're an honors student. So if that's something that interests you, definitely want to start that application as soon as possible. Now we only have a couple minutes, but we have several questions from our viewers. Dr. Bolte, I'll let you go ahead and keep on talking. So a student is asking, are there any advisors who help students decide where they want to study abroad if they're unsure exactly where to go? And can students study abroad more than once?
Absolutely. What I would say is you should first start your discussion about study abroad with our honors advisors. They're happy to begin that discussion with you, but where they're always going to send you is to our International Program Center. It's always great to start early. You can make an appointment and talk to somebody your first semester here at UNCG. They always want you to start as early as possible, thinking about your options and opportunities. Because if you want to go someplace specific, but maybe you can't go until maybe your junior year, then you need to work with your advisors to make sure you set aside the courses that are going to best work for you at that time. So absolutely, that's something that you can start right away with honors, or you can talk to our International Program Center with. And I know you asked me another question, but I don't remember what.
Yeah, no. Are you able to study abroad more than once?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have numerous students that have studied abroad more than once. Sometimes students will study abroad in the summer and then they'll do a semester. Some students will do a whole year abroad at one shot, but they might do it in 2 different locations. I believe that the International Program Center says the most someone has ever studied abroad at UNCG is 5 times, I think.
Wow, that's awesome. So if you have several different countries you're interested in, you could definitely make that happen. Isna, I've got a question for you that you might be able to answer. Let's see here. If one of our viewers asked, if you plan on going into medical school after you graduate, does the honors program have any benefits or any class accommodations for the required courses?
I would say with my undergrad in biology and being an international honors student, I had no difficulty taking the honors classes as well as taking all of the pre-med requirements that I needed to complete.
So would you say it was a pretty seamless transition applying to PA school and getting into PA school, and you had all the necessary resources to do so?
I had more than enough resources from the Honors College. 2 of my references came from Dr. Omar Ali, who is the Dean of the Honors College, as well as Julie Boyer. And they were very helpful in advising me on how to proceed in applying to schools. And you can't get that anywhere else, I think.
Awesome. So I've got about 1 minute left, and I'm going to ask all the panelists to share a very, very quick question. What is one thing you want prospective students to remember about the Honors College? And I'm going to go ahead and start off with Dr. Muich.
I think the one thing you need to remember about the Honors College is that this is a community unlike any other at UNCG.
Dr. Bolte?
I would say the one thing that you always need to remember about honors is early. Do everything early, and honors is going to help support you with that. Apply early to international honors, disciplinary honors, everything of that regard early.
And then Julie?
I think something to know about honors is that it really is for everyone. So no matter your major or what your goals are as far as study abroad or not, we have something to offer you, and we believe that you have something to offer us.
And Isna?
I would say the interaction with faculty, it's something you can't get anywhere else, and it's a huge benefit.
And Max, bring us home.
Yeah, so I don't think anybody's actually mentioned our honors slogan yet, which is play, experiment, perform. The Honors College will give you opportunities that encourage divergent thinking so much more than a multiple choice exam ever will.
Awesome. Thank you guys all so much. I definitely wanted to take the time to thank all of our panelists. They're experts in what they do. If you have any questions, please reach out to them. And I thank you all so much for joining us for the Honors College to learn a little bit more. And lastly, I do want to remind all of our prospective students and their families to join us next week on Monday for our final week of virtual open house. And thank you all so much for joining us this evening. And I hope to see you all again soon. Bye.
Bye.